ladies and gentlemen. This is Dorothy Mae Mercer from Talk Story TV. This afternoon we have an interview with Irina Shapiro, who is a new author, and she's going to tell us how she got started and a little bit about her book. Welcome to the program, Irina.
Thank you, Dorothy. It's nice to be here.
You look beautiful today.
Thank you. You look pretty good yourself.
So tell us a little bit how you got started as an author.
I decided to leave my job a few years ago to stay at home with my autistic son. And since I wasn't being very intellectually stimulated, being just a stay-at-home mom, I decided that I wanted to try writing. It's something that I had always wanted to do, and since I now had some time, it was my opportunity to try. And it worked out relatively well.
Well, good for you. Have you written articles or books, or what are some of the things you've written?
Right now I have 6 novels for sale on Amazon.com, and I'm working on the 7th, which is the last book of a trilogy that I'm working on. And but actually today I'm here to talk about not part of the trilogy, but one of my other books called Precious Bones. It's a historical romance/mystery that takes place during modern time and Tudor England during the latter years of the reign of Elizabeth I. And it touches on the Babington plot, which was the plot by Mary, Queen of Scots, to assassinate Elizabeth and take over the throne.
Oh, that sounds fascinating. So tell us a little bit about the book. Is it mostly fiction, or I understand?
Well, it's all fiction. The storyline is purely my imagination, but I did do a lot of research on Tudor England, and the parts that have to do with the Babington plot and certain characters such as Anthony Babington and Walsingham and obviously Queen Elizabeth, those are all real people, and I used real details.
The people back then were pretty nasty, weren't they?
Well, they were certainly crafty and very cunning.
Uh-huh.
And there was always some power struggle going on. And actually, I think Walsingham is a fascinating character because he was like the spy master. He was like the head of the CIA before the CIA ever existed. I mean, this man knew everything about everyone.
Oh, my gosh. But still the plot fell through, didn't it?
Well, the plot fell through due to him because he was able to save Elizabeth from being assassinated. But actually, the plot is just sort of the backstory of the book. The actual story is about a writer in modern day times who is shocked by a story that she sees on TV about a skeleton of a young woman and her baby being found entombed behind the wall of a historic Tudor building. And she knows who the woman was, but she doesn't know how she got there. And she decides to follow the story, and the story leads her down the path she never expected.
How about that? That's a great way to get into it. So have you written other historical novels, or is this a new thing for you?
No, all my novels are historical. I'm a real history buff, and I'm particularly interested in European history. And I have several of my books take place in England, and one of my books takes place in Scotland during the Jacobite Rebellion.
I think you probably have quite a few people who are interested in this as historical novels, especially about the history of Great Britain. Seem to be very popular. Have you discovered that to be true?
Yes, I think there's a very large audience for historical romance, and not just in books, but in TV also. I mean, look, Tudors and Borgias are ruling the airwaves.
Oh, have you written any TV scripts yourself?
No, I've never gone down that road yet. I prefer just writing stories.
I do too. I tried to turn one of my books into a script, and I got about 2 pages, and I thought, oh, this is boring. I don't know why we have a penchant for one thing and not another, huh?
Well, I think we all have our talents, and I've never worked with TV, so I wouldn't even know how to go about turning a book into a script. But to me, the story has to flow, and the script would be mostly just dialogue, I would assume.
Yes, that's true. It's a different thing altogether. So is there...
Yeah, it's entirely different.
Do you want to talk at all about your experience with your son, or would you rather not?
I think I would rather not.
Okay.
I mean, that's something, a lot of people have suggested to me that I write about that, but I find that to be something a little too personal to just put out there for mass consumption.
Yeah, maybe someday, later. That's always...
Maybe someday.
You can get lost.
I'm sorry?
Go ahead.
I think it's easier maybe when you're looking back on something rather than when you're currently living through it.
I agree with you. I've had the same experience, especially if it's something that was a traumatic or painful experience. You're not ready to write about it just yet, and thinking about it is too painful.
Yeah, and it's an ongoing process that this is not something that you can say, okay, it's over now and we could move on. This is a lifelong thing.
You're right about that. Well, thank you very much for being with us today, and I wish you the very best of luck. Tell us again the name of your book and where we can find it.
The name of the book is Precious Bones by Irina Shapiro, and you can find it for sale on Amazon.com.
Thank you very much. It was nice having you with us today.
Thank you, Dorothy. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Goodbye now.